Hi guys, this is Miss Baker. I'm just going to go through the student safety contract. After you watch this video, you need to go to Canvas and do the science safety test. Okay, the student safety contract. Purpose. Science is a hands-on laboratory class. You will be doing many activities or laboratory activities which require the use of hazardous chemicals. Safety in the science classroom is the #1 priority for students, teachers, and parents. To ensure a safe science classroom, a list of rules has been developed and provided for you in this student safety contract. These rules must be followed at all times. General guidelines. Conduct yourself in a responsible manner at all times in the laboratory. Do not eat food in the laboratory. Do not use laboratory glassware as containers for food or beverages. I am fine with you drinking drinks that have a lid on them and are not highly caffeinated. Please make sure that if you spill anything that you let me know and I'll be happy to help you clean it up. Also, food-wise, if you're going to eat food in the classroom, #1, please make sure it doesn't stink. #2, don't share because that always causes a huge problem. Okay, when first entering a science room, do not touch any equipment, chemicals, or other materials in the laboratory area unless you are instructed to do so. Basically, what I want you to understand on this one is don't play with my toys until I tell you I'm going to share. I will share. You just got to wait until we're ready to. Students are never permitted in the science storage rooms or preparation areas unless given specific permission by the teacher. My prep area is behind my whiteboard. The door is open, but please don't mess with it. The reason we leave the door open is because it stinks and it builds up and gets really nasty if we close the doors. Never work alone. No students may work in the laboratory without a teacher present. Now, if I'm not there when you're coming into the classroom, it's fine for you to walk in and sit down, but don't start working on anything until I'm there, please. Be prepared for your work in the lab. Read all procedures thoroughly before entering the laboratory. Never fool around in the laboratory. Horseplay, practical jokes, and pranks are dangerous and prohibited. Perform only those experiments authorized by the teacher. Never do anything in the laboratory that is not called for in the laboratory procedures by your teacher. Carefully follow all of the instructions, both written and oral. Unauthorized experiments are prohibited. Okay, sorry guys, everything's going crazy on me. Okay. Follow all written and verbal instructions carefully. If you don't understand a direction or a part of a procedure, ask me before proceeding. Now, if you come up to me with those big doe eyes and say, Miss Baker, I don't understand, my first question is going to be, well, did you read it? And if you look at me and say, yeah, and I'm like, well, what part don't you understand? And you can't answer me, I'm going to ask you to go back and read the directions again. Now, if you come up to me and you say, hey, Miss Baker, I understand step 1, step 2, and step 3, but I don't get step number 4. Obviously, you've tried. I'm going to happily help you with that. So please, please, please read the instructions first. Again, I'm happy to help if you read the instructions first. Be alert and proceed with caution at all times in the laboratory. Notify the teacher immediately of any unsafe conditions you observe. Just let me know. I'm happy to try and figure it out. Just let me know. Keep aisles clear. Push your chairs under your desk when not in use. Now remember, our lab room and our classroom are together, so we need as much space as we can to work safely. Keep the aisles clear. If you're up and moving around, push your chair in. Make sure your book bags are under your desk where nobody's going to trip on them. Observe good housekeeping practices. Work areas should be kept clean and tidy at all times. Bring only your laboratory instructions, worksheets, and/or reports to the work area. Other materials, books, purses, backpacks, etc., should be stored in the classroom area. Dispose of all chemical waste properly. Never mix chemicals in sink drains. Sinks are to be used only for water and those solutions designated by the teacher. Solid chemicals, metal, matches, filter paper, and all other insoluble materials are to be disposed of in the proper waste containers, not the sink. Check the label of all waste containers twice before adding your chemical waste. The other word for a waste container is a trash can. Labeled and Labels and equipment instructions must be read carefully before use. Set up and use the prescribed apparatus as directed in the laboratory instructions or by your teacher. If you do not understand how to use a piece of equipment, ask me for help. I will be happy to help you. Report damaged electrical equipment immediately. Look for things such as frayed cords, exposed wires, and loose connections. Do not use damaged electrical equipment. Always let me know. Fill wash bottles only with distilled water and use only as intended. Example, rinsing glassware and equipment or adding water to a container. Experiments must be personally monitored at all times. You will be assigned a laboratory station at which to work. Do not wander around the room, distract other students, or interfere with other laboratory experiments. Know the location and operating procedures of all safety equipment, including the first aid kit, eye wash station, safety shower, fire extinguisher, and fire blanket. Know where the fire alarm is and the exits are located. Okay, so the first aid kit is in my front desk, second drawer up. The eye wash station is on the back lab station on the right hand side. It's part of the sink. You have to pull the plastic caps off of it, turn the water, and then there's a button to pull on the eye wash station to wash your eyes. The safety shower is in Mr. McConnell's classroom, and it's the classroom wall that adjoins ours. The fire extinguisher is in the hallway, I believe. The fire blanket is above the door on the left-hand side. The fire alarms are just outside the doors down to the stairs. If there is a fire alarm, you are to go down the stairs, out, go over towards the visitor side of the football field, go down the bleachers till you hit the 50-yard line, and sit on the bleacher stairs closest to the 50-yard line, the very bottom set of bleachers right across from the 50-yard line. You're going to stay there until I get there, check you off that you are there and safe, and then you can go sit with your friends. Know what to do if there's a fire drill during the laboratory period. Containers must be closed, gas valves turned off, fume hoods turned off, and any electrical equipment turned off. Handle all living organisms used in a laboratory activity in a humane manner. Preserved biological materials are to be treated with respect and disposed of properly. When removing an electrical plug from its socket, grasp the plug, not the electrical cord. Hands must be completely dry before touching an electrical switch, plug, or outlet. When using knives and other sharp instruments, always carry with tips and points pointing down and away. Always cut away from your body. Never try to catch falling sharp instruments. Grasp sharp instruments only by the handles. Clothing. Anytime chemicals, heat, or glassware are used, students will wear laboratory goggles. There will be no exception to this rule. Dress properly during a laboratory activity. Long hair, dangling jewelry, and loose or baggy clothing are a hazard in the laboratory. Long hair must be tied back, and dangling jewelry and loose or baggy clothing must be secured. Shoes must completely cover the foot, no sandals. Now, In my classroom, I'm okay with sandals. We're really not going to be using anything that could possibly hurt you, but that's what the science safety document says. Lab aprons have been provided for your use and should be worn during the laboratory activity. Keep hands away from face, eyes, mouth, and body while using chemicals or preserved specimens. Wash your hands with soap and water after performing all experiments. Clean with detergent, rinse and wipe dry all work surfaces, including the sink and the apparatus at the end of the experiment. Return all equipment clean and in working order to the proper storage area. Contact lenses should not be worn in the laboratory unless you have permission from your teacher. I am currently giving you permission to wear contact lenses. Accidents and injuries. Report any accident, spill, breakage, etc., or injury, cut, burn, etc., to the teacher immediately, no matter how trivial it may appear. If your lab partner are hurt, immediately yell out help to get my attention. If a chemical should splash in your eyes or on your skin, immediately flush with running water from the eye wash station or the safety shower for at least 20 minutes. Notify the teacher immediately. Handling chemicals. All chemicals in the laboratory are to be considered dangerous. Do not touch, taste, or smell any chemicals unless specifically instructed to do so. The proper technique for smelling chemical fumes will be demonstrated to you. Check the label on the chemical bottles twice before removing any of the contents. Take only as much chemical as you need. Acids must be handled with extreme care. You will be shown the proper method for diluting strong acids. Always add, let me go back. Always add an acid to water, swirl or stir the solution, and be careful of the heat produced, particularly with sulfuric acid. Handle flammable, hazardous liquids over a pan to contain spills. Never dispense flammable liquids anywhere near an open flame or source of heat. When transferring chemicals from one container to another, hold the containers away from your body. Never remove chemicals other materials from the laboratory area. Never return unused chemicals to their original containers. Never use mouth suction to fill a pipette. Use a rubber bulb or a pipette pump. Handling glassware and equipment. Carry glass tubing, especially long pieces, in a vertical position to maintain the likelihood or minimize the likelihood of breakage and injury. Never handle broken glass with your bare hands. Use a brush and a dustpan to clean up broken glass. Place broken or waste glass in the designated glass disposal container. Inserting and removing glass tubing from rubber stoppers can be dangerous. Always lubricate glassware, tubing, thistle tubes, thermometers, etc. before attempting to insert it in the stopper. Always protect your hands with towels or cotton gloves when inserting glass tubing into or removing from a rubber stopper. If a piece of glassware becomes frozen in the stopper, take it to your teacher for removal. Examine glassware before each use. Never use chipped or cracked glassware. Never use dirty glassware. Heating substances. Exercise extreme caution when using a gas burner. Take care that hair, clothing, and hands are a safe distance from the flame at all times. Do not put any substance into the flame unless specifically instructed to do so. Never reach over an exposed flame. Light gas or alcohol burners only as instructed by the teacher. Heated materials and glass remain very hot for a long time. They should be set aside to cool and picked up with caution. Use tongs or heat protective gloves if necessary. Never leave a lit burner unattended. Never leave anything that is being heated or is visibly reacting unattended. Always turn the burner or hot plate off when not in use. You will be instructed in the proper method of heating and boiling liquids in test tubes. Do not point the open end of a test tube being heated at yourself or anyone else, because if it boils, it will spit. Never look at a container that is being heated, again, because it will spit. Do not immerse hot glassware in cold water, it may shatter. When bending glass, allow time for the glass to cool before further handling. Hot and cold glass has the same visual appearance. Determine if an object is hot by bringing your hand close to it prior to grasping it. If you bring the back of your hand close to it and the back of your hand gets burned, your hand will clamp down. But if it's the back of your hand will not clamp down on the hot glass. If you burn the front of your hand, the inside of your hand will clamp it around the hot glass. Do not place hot apparatus directly on the laboratory desk. Always use an insulating pad. Allow plenty of time for the hot apparatus to cool before touching it. Okay, that's it, guys. Go to your 001 module and take the science safety test. It is in Canvas. Thank you.